Do you have student loans and they're in default? You might want to pay attention to the whole entire video because it's going to affect your pockets.
Money Moments on 4.
In this morning's Money Moment, if you are in default on your student loans, this story is for you. The Education Department could begin collecting payments by garnishing your wages to collect on that money. Now, the Education Department made that announcement Monday, saying they could start collecting loan money starting May 5th. That's in less than 2 weeks. The involuntary collection will be done through the Treasury Department's offset program that pulls back delinquent debts by withholding payments such as tax refunds, federal salaries, and Social Security benefits. More than 5 million borrowers are in default, and 4 million more could be in the same position in a few months. Less than 40% of borrowers are current on their student loan payments, according to the department. So what's next? You'll receive an email informing you of the next steps to take and urging everyone to look into their repayment options. Wage garnishing notices will be sent out as early as this summer. Now, if you remember, former President Joe Biden had attempted to wipe out student loan debt across the country, but eventually the courts ruled that he misled borrowers about his actual authority to be able to take such an action. In the same announcement, the department added there will not be any mass loan forgiveness at any point in the near future. So again, the next step is you should look for an email, and that will guide you on what your options are. I'm Brianna Boudreau, and that's your Money Moment on this Tuesday morning.
All right, so let's unpack everything she just said, right? Because that was a lot really quick, all right? So I have a news article just breaking it down, basically what she said. So beginning May 5th, very important day. May 5th is going to be very important. The department, the Education Department will begin involuntary collections through the Treasury Department offset program, which claws back delinquent debts by withholding payments such as tax refund, federal salaries, and Social Security benefits, right? Why that's important? Because if you're expecting a tax refund, right, or if you work for the government, right, military, you're collecting a federal check, it's going to be easy for them to actually collect that money. And as you can see with Social Security, they coming, if you owe money, they coming after you, right? So, and then, hold on, another thing, right? Not with just this. Think about this. If you removed a student loan off your credit report using my tactics or other tactics that you may have saw, right? And you got student loans removed off your report, that doesn't mean just because it's off your report that you don't owe your money. And you've probably seen a lot of TikTok things saying, hey, you don't owe money due to this happened, and this happened. Hey, they coming after they bread, all right? So beware, and basically we're going to break down some more stuff of what you should expect, what you should get, so you can be prepared to pay them back or set up some type of arrangement, because you just heard she said that they're not forgiving nothing, right? Unless, if you're in a different program when it comes to student loans, but they ain't trying to forgive nothing. So more than 5 million borrowers are in default, and 4 million could be in the same position in a few months, which would put nearly a quarter of the federal student loan portfolio in default. And according to the Education Department, less than 40% of borrowers are current on their student loan payments. It's about to get real crazy, right? In the next 2 weeks, those in default will receive an email informing them of the next step and urging them to look into repayment options. Wage garnishment notice will be sent out later this summer, right? So hold up. I know when it comes to y'all money, y'all don't play, all right? So if you don't want to get your wage garnished and make them take out any type of money out of your paycheck, hey, pay attention to that email or whatever you got to do to set up some type of repayment plan, or come on or get onto something so you don't get your wage garnished, right? Because they coming after everything, all right? They trying to get your wages that you working really hard for. They trying to get your income tax. If you're working for the government, they trying to get a part of that check. If you got Social Security, they trying to get part of that. So do what you got to do to pay these people back, so you won't be on this, so you won't be getting your money taken away from you because of, you went to school, whatever the case may happen, whether you graduated or not. Hey, they want their money, all right? And a little bit more, former President Joe Biden sought to wipe out student loan debt for tens of millions of people during his 4 year in the White House. But the effort was repeatedly rejected by the courts, including a 2023 ruling by the Supreme Court. Still, the Biden administration erased student loan debt for more than 5 million people through other forgiveness programs, right? And like Like you heard earlier, they ain't trying to do no more forgiveness programs, all right? They want their money. Now, do what you got to do to pay these people back. But most importantly, if you haven't known, like I've been helping people fix their credit, get things removed, such as charge off, bankruptcy, eviction, student loans, child support, or any other negative accounts on their report that's holding their credit score back without waiting 7 years. Because according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, Experian TransUnion Equifax has to assure maximum possible accuracy, or according to 15 USC 1681 EB. So if you have like any other negative accounts on your report, right? We're not just talking about student loan, but if you have a charge off, if you have an eviction, if you have a repossession, if you have things on your report that's holding your credit score back, I want to break down a process to help you remove those negative items off of your report, right? So most importantly, what you want to do is get access to your report. All right, I had the link in the description. You can get it for $1. Now, the reason why you want to leverage this specific report, because it basically outlines the details within the specific account to help you remove the account from your report. Like I said earlier, everything has to assure maximum possible accuracy. So 9 times out of 10, most of the time, it's not going to assure maximum possible accuracy. Just because it doesn't assure maximum possible accuracy doesn't mean that, hey, the account's going to fall off automatically. So what you got to do is create specific letters, basically talking about these specific accounts. And then over time, you're going to start seeing the results of what you're doing, right? And most importantly, just because you remove accounts, like I said before, doesn't mean that, hey, you don't owe the money. But when it comes to, like, let's just say you remove a repossession, I really haven't seen they sold it to a collection agency for you to come after that, right? So when it comes to disputing, what you want to do is 2 things, right? You want to send letters every single month, right? Certified at 2 forms of identification, and then you can go to freesecretletter.com and get my free secret letter, right? That'll be the first letter. There's a follow-up letter that I'm going to show you how to create later on, right? But that first letter, you send it to Experian, send it to TransUnion, you send it to Equifax, and then your second letter is going to be based off of how they respond back. But I want to show you how to create a specific lever to leverage not only the details, but Metro 2 compliance that Experian, TransUnion, Equifax have to adhere to as well. So when you do that, it improves your chances of getting the accounts removed from your report, right? So as you're disputing the negative items off your report, another thing you want to focus on is paying down your credit cards, right? Because that is about 30% of your credit score, right? So if you're out, if you owe a lot of debt, right? If your credit cards are maxed out or whatever the case may be, that is part of your credit score that's very important that you want to take care of as well, right? So do what you got to do to decrease that, and as you're sending the letters out, you're going to see the improvements. Now, what's not going to happen is, hey, just because you pay this down, you send this off, it's going to take a process and a combination of both to see the overall credit score that you deserve, right? Just because you get a few things removed, it doesn't 100% guarantee that, hey, your credit score is going to increase 50 points, 100 points, just because you got a few items removed. So what you want to do is continue paying that debt down. Don't focus on the credit score just yet, right? Focus on removing the negative items off your report. And as you remove the negative items off your report and you get everything off your report, now you can see the credit score that you're looking for, as long as you get your utilization down to 0%. And another important thing, right? You don't need all 3 credit scores, right, to get access to funding. If you're trying to leverage for a business funding, or you're trying to leverage to buy or invest into a box truck, right? You don't need all 3 credit scores to do that. You just need to have 1 credit score, because there are banks that only pull from Experian. There are banks that only pull from TransUnion. There are banks that only pull from Equifax, right? And you can leverage that. We talked about student loans. We talked about how to actually leverage based off of like your credit scores, based off of your reports, to get access to funds, all right? So if you want to learn how to create that specific letter that I talk about, watch that video right here.